Nice, man. A crazy month, huh, for you guys, you're saying?
Yeah, no, it's been nuts. I mean, just with everything going on. Yeah, it's been a nuts month.
Very strange. Lots of weird stuff going
Fires, right? We were saying this last week. I even got looks like I have a black eye, like I was in a fight. I was in one of your events, right?
Yeah.
But I got like a sinus infection that I didn't know. It was like, I felt something was off. I felt kind of sad, right? And then my eye got puffy on Friday, Saturday. I went to urgent care just to make sure everything was okay, because right. And then it got even worse, right? And so I went to the emergency room and I got CAT scan, right, where they scan your head or whatever. And I broke my orbital years ago in a fight, right, like from an elbow. And he's like, "Oh man, it looks like you have a deformity in your orbital bone. Have you broken it before?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually." I was like,
he had no clue who you were.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was in a fight. It was cool. And so now like it was just like today's Tuesday, so yesterday it was just yesterday, but I still got the big old black eye, but it's all from the ashes and all that stuff in the air can aggravate it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of ashes out there right now. Scary
What's that?
times. Plenty of ashes out there.
Yeah,
you know, scary times.
But just all our neighborhoods right in the valley, and Pasadena, just everybody's like on edge, right, of what's gonna happen next.
I mean, yeah, like a couple days ago, I mean, you're hearing about new fires in this city and that city and this city, and you feel so bad for everyone affected, but just also everyone's daily lives. I mean, whether it's ashes, you're going outside, the air isn't clean, or whatever it may be.
Well,
Friends losing their homes,
exactly.
right?
I mean, I feel so bad, and shout out to all the first responders too, right, putting their lives on the line, and
big time.
And they're really the true heroes. But yeah, it's been freaking crazy.
Yeah, the hardest thing for me is kind of that uncertainty. We were like, close enough.
I think I got.
Come on, don't you?
All right, there we go.
Is that better? Okay.
I think for us, like the big deal too is like that uncertainty. We were one zone away from being evacuated. We live in Tarzana.
Yeah.
Sort of that
Encino was close, right? Encino got evacuated, right?
It was crazy. My wife was going nuts. My daughter was going nuts.
Yeah, they were freaking out a little more than us, but yeah, it was starting to hit a little. I mean, you feel bad for everyone, but once it starts to get a little closer to you, it becomes like a little more real. And yeah, it was like reaching up the 405 Sepulveda area, and then we're right there in Tarzana. So it was getting closer as you start seeing all the fire and the smoke just coming a little closer and a little closer. And then, everything kind of settles in where you just feel bad for all these people that have lost their homes and realize how real this really is, and, how scary it could be at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Glendale, so Pasadena, the Eaton fires, right? They were like, I mean, the sky was orange on that side. On the other side, no, but that side was like orange. We're like, oh man, let's get out of here before, because all the neighbors on that side of Glendale were they're on call to be evacuated, so we just.
How did your wife and kids sort of handle that?
What's that?
How did your wife and kids sort of handle that? Was your wife sort of freaking out?
She's very tough, and she's
unlike
Armenian.
you, but yeah.
Well, listen, bro, my wife was just like a scaredy cat in a way, right? Gangster on the streets. My wife is crazy, trust me. But man, when it comes to we should evacuate. Let's take off. Let's get out of here. Like,
do you have your bag ready? 10 minutes later, is your bag ready? Are you ready to go? Yeah. But I get it.
Yeah, she's really tough, so she stayed calm and she got everything ready, and we had a cool moment with my kids, because I was asking them, okay, you have 5 minutes, what are you grabbing you're gonna leave everything, right? What are you gonna grab in 5 minutes? You have 5 minutes to grab your stuff. She said her valuables and whatever the things that are important, maybe picture albums. And then I asked my kids, my son was like, my video game and my iPhone.
He's got his priorities straight.
And then my other daughter, she kind of copied her grandma and mom, the valuables and all that, whatever. And then my other daughter who wrestles, she's like, all my medals and my Fargo stuff that she got last year. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, your girls are twins, right?
I have twins, yeah.
Yeah, so Ryan's a twin also.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of crazy. Now, are your twins, are they really alike? Are they totally different?
Totally different. Their personalities and yeah, they're very different.
Yeah.
Fraternal.
Same with me and my twin, for sure.
You guys fraternal?
Yeah. You actually met him a little earlier. He was with us when we came in here.
Oh.
Yeah, he's right over there. Yeah, so
they look nothing alike. They act nothing alike. They do not think the same.
cool,
the only thing I'd say is our
different.
parents raised us a certain way where we do have the same core values, try to be very respectful and all that stuff. But as far as personalities and everything else, we're just two opposites,
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, they're really the same. One has straight hair, the other one has curly hair. One's like she likes to. She
Luckily
stays.
for me, I got my looks from my mom. Otherwise, I'm just really happy about that.
Ryan's just going for do you ever get accused of favoring one or the other? Or
For sure, the one that is more combat stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm. You know, it's my world, and so like I'm just.
There's more things to bond over, right? I mean, the love is the same,
like I go to like there's a tournament this weekend, and I'm just like all about it. Of course, I got my other daughter. She does track and cross country, so I try to go to all the events as well. You know, but it's different, right? It's different. It's not like I'm like so like immersed. I'm like, oh my god, like on the edge of my seat. You know, every little piece. You know, but watching your kids, right? Watching your kids compete, and do stuff. You know, it's like the highlight of your life. You know?
There's no bigger blessing. You know, so blessed to have kids, and you know, fortunately for us, we're a pretty tight family, right? So, kind of doing business together, working together. Fortunately,
that's very challenging. That's fun.
It is very challenging. But, still got him living at home, which we really want.
That's it.
So we're blessed.
That's where it's at.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I love how you guys all showed up with your Up Next fighting. You know, chains, jackets, everything.
representing. No, we're super proud of it. You know what I mean? Ryan's worked really hard. So has the rest of the family. So we're super proud of what we've put together so far.
Yeah. How did it all begin? Like the show or how you guys getting involved with everything?
So my dad's 110%er, but pretty much take it back a little bit.
Good sometimes, bad other times.
I know that as like to honestly have a mentor that's pushing you 110% of the time and wanting you to build and grow something to be special as opposed to being maybe, mediocre or whatever it is. But so when I got out of high school, decided not to go to college, and my dad's like, okay, what the fuck are you gonna do? He had his other business, which is in investigations. Started doing that right out of high school. Didn't love it. I was always a hard worker.
You weren't very good at it either. I'm just letting you know.
He's such a liar. No, he used to tell me I did great.
Alberto, just being honest, he wasn't great.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So after that, I was like, I want to start my own business and do something. A little younger, but I thought maybe a clothing brand would be cool. That was a clothing brand that we were putting like 25% of proceeds away to charity called the Given Project. But designing clothes and all that stuff just wasn't my passion either. As a family,
what made you want to do it?
The clothing?
Yeah.
Just something to do, like get my life, figure out my life, what's going on.
Did you don't have a passion or?
Not necessarily. I like being creative, but the clothing we got started and it just wasn't for me. So then I've always loved MMA. My family, we've always came together when a UFC fight's on. Whole family's at the house, cousins, everyone. He actually got me and my twin brother into training when we were 5 years old. So we did jiu-jitsu, got our blue belts.
Oh, nice.
He did some Backstreet.
Wasn't very good at that either. I'm just letting you know.
I got my blue belt at 16, which isn't bad. That's not horrible, is it?
No.
Where did you guys train?
Under Cindy Omatsu.
Cindy Omatsu.
Okay, Cindy. Yeah. Machado. Yeah, old school Machado.
Used to get trained when he was.
But that was back down in Redondo.
Yeah, so we used to live down in Redondo. So we went over to Higgins' place.
Yeah.
So Higgins trained him. Then we moved to the Valley. So Cindy was willing to come up to the Valley to do private. So they were trained by Cindy, and then
she's dirty dozen first female black belt.
Dude, it would crack me up because I would try to roll with her, and dude, she's what, $110 maybe, soaking wet. And I'm 155. Dude, she would toss me up like a pretzel. And it was the funniest thing. Like I didn't get it, but yeah. I love Cindy.
No, she definitely humbled me a couple times for sure. But we were training jiu-jitsu, so we were just involved in martial arts. We never competed. Yeah. I think there was a time where I maybe asked my dad to do a jiu-jitsu tournament or something, and my mom is like the biggest mama bear you'll ever meet in your life. Don't endanger yourself. Don't hurt your pretty face. Whatever she wanted to say. So never competed, but we've always bonded as a family. We started going to shows, in Southern California and whatnot. I was like,
what shows did you guys go to?
George's.
Yeah, all the George's.
All the George's stuff.
He was the guy. He was always the guy.
Listen, I consider George the GOAT, especially when it comes to matchmaking. That guy has such an eye, and he's so amazing.
Yeah. And then we were always talking like, hey, what do you see yourself doing? I was like, we should start an MMA promotion. We've been in the game a little while now. We just see how everything's going on. And kind of brought the idea to him, and he was all in. As long as we're really all in on this and we want to build something special, and kind of from there it's been history. It was kind
of a no-brainer because I was close to George, right? And Steve Bash, who was George's partner for many years. Yeah, I love both those guys. So it was really just kind of a no-brainer to kind of partner up with those guys and put this thing together, because I think what we brought, which is different than what George and Steve had before, a business foundation. You know what I mean? In my normal world, I represent brands. I've done a lot of that stuff, so I'm really good on kind of foundational building. So we kind of just built that infrastructure behind the organization. And I think in 2.5 years, I think with George and Steve's 15 years and us bringing that focus and that structure, it's paid off.
Man, you guys are the best, that I've seen. Like besides like a UFC, I've been to Bellator, I've been to like a bunch of shows, and just every single piece. And these guys are like amateur fighters, and what you guys give them also like tools for the future. Like it's amazing.
Yeah,
every
man.
part, the productions, the people you have talking, just the whole everything.
Yeah, I think one thing about our family, just kind of the way that we sort of believe in our sort of philosophy is like everybody's equal. We just have different job descriptions. And so when we started the promotion, there was some conversations treating pros differently than amateurs, this and that. And we didn't believe in that. We believed in treating everybody the same, build the best and the biggest platform for these guys. And I think it's really worked because, you look at the level of talent, and I don't even call them amateurs, I call them rising stars. There are times, boss, you can't tell the difference between a quote-unquote amateur fight and some of these pro fights. Yeah. And a lot of these guys are coming from your place, which is just so amazing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, like the people that really know, if it's a three-minute round, it's an AMI fight. But other than that, people that barely know MMA or whatever, look at, wow, the fights were sick. Are those all pro fights? Are those AMI fights? And I also think when you treat, you're not, these are pros, so they're going to get so much more, highlights and whatnot. You treat them the same. The AMIs actually rise up to the level of kind of what the pros are doing as well, right? They feel like they have to show up. They have a lot of responsibility to kind of put on a good show as well. And a lot of fighters, when they fight in other organizations, they come over to ours for some reason. Maybe I'm biased, but when I'm watching the fight, I feel like they're just taking it to another level.
Yeah, no doubt. It's crazy how it's what a blessing. One, because I'm in SoCal, right? So to have this in our backyard. From even when I first moved here in 2007, there were no shows. There were George was doing, it was either he was doing Muay Thai and kind of getting involved with boxing a little bit, but like there was nobody doing like MMA shows, and so I even got involved. Well, I just did it to get my guys fights.
Yeah.
Right. So we did some like National Fight Alliance and just King of the Cages just to kind of get these guys fights because there was nowhere to get guys fights at those times.
And I don't feel like everybody understands, like, the MMA promotion business is a very tough business.
Man.
Yeah. You know what I mean? There's so many, to do it right, and we have a lot of growing and improvements to do on our side, but to do it right takes a lot of, commitment. And I think one thing that I love about Up Next, it really, gives me this sort of sense of purpose because when you're helping these athletes and these coaches, I think that, making a difference in their lives, it's just really fulfilling. And there's a lot of, passion in what we do.
I feel that 100%. Matt be going with Matthew and just seeing everybody that's involved, even Tarek, is his debut and
I love that guy.
And just, you're just all different backgrounds and they have this like life experience. Like, even the guys from Alta MMA, like it was like these guys like they got to like to do it, to walk out into the cage, and it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, especially Tarek.
Cool.
Like, I mean, the text he sent me, my dad, after he fought, right, the experience he got and everything, and it's so crazy too, because like to fight for a living, you gotta, there has to be kind of a reason. No, but seriously, and that's why all these guys have great stories, and it's our job as a promotion to help them get it out there, right? Because all these guys have something special, of why they're doing what they're doing.
A guy like Tarek doesn't need to fight. It's because he wants it. That guy's so intelligent, has so much going for himself. Yeah. And I really kind of look back at guys like you, Tarek, Matthew, those that have the courage to get in that cage in front of thousands of people. I don't think I could ever do it. I could fight on the street if I have to, but I couldn't get in that cage.
It's okay in the street, yeah.
Yeah.
Stories for another time.
Hopefully there won't be any video of me losing. But yeah, I'm just saying. No.
For sure.
Yeah, man. The whole game is like, it's amazing. You guys kind of brought it, like, made it cool. Really made it cool, and I feel the connection with the because I'm involved with different areas. I've known George. I've seen the guys come through even from other camps as well. Yeah. And it's just like, you guys come to the gym, you guys checking it out, you guys connecting everybody. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I think like my dad said, we're trying to do it the right way, and I think we know what the right way is. So we are putting that work in, and we really just want these guys, because we know also trying to be a professional fighter is not the easiest job in the world, right? It also eventually it can make you good money and gets endorsements and whatnot, but the AMI to the regional level and then getting to the big show where you can get a really good paycheck, it's tough. So we're just trying to do everything on our end to either help them when they or have them ready when they do get there, and do whatever we can to help promote them and get them there faster.
Yeah, and I think coming from my background, I own an investigative company, so I love things need to make sense for me, right? That's my world. And so when we started this, I actually talked to a lot of coaches that I really respect and said, what do we need to do? What's missing? You know, what can we do better for the athletes? You know, and so we actually listened. And so we invest a lot in, you know, our content days, our social media, you know, just everything that we're doing, right? Because we feel that our job is to really highlight these guys and give them a platform to build their brand. And I don't know if you agree or not, boss, but I've always got the saying, like, you know, these athletes are, you know, two brands basically, who they are on the cage and who they are outside.
Right.
And in today's world with social media and all this, they've got to be good in the cage and they got to be good out of the cage.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Olympic wrestlers and all these guys, because I'm involved with my daughter, and to see it, you know, even 5 years ago wasn't the case, but now you have to have your social media game on, like, at every level, right?
Yeah,
in sports.
You're hearing like Olympic gold medalists talking about, you know, they can't get paid what they should be getting paid or whatever it is, and maybe because they don't have that personality. Well, they probably have it, but they're not putting it out there on social media because they don't want to, or whatever it is. So it's really a crazy thing. Are we gonna ever see your daughter in the UNF cage? Does she want to be like an MMA fighter one day, or what's going on?
I know, right? Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to see her. I can't say if it's in her heart. I'll support it, you know. But I like to see her pursue this wrestling, and you know, I'd like to see her if the stars align with jiu-jitsu. Just wrestling's so big, you know,
right? Yeah.
Compared to like jiu-jitsu, like the scene, you know, like the competitive arena.
Well, I think with what the UFC is doing with jiu-jitsu, what do you see the future being?
I mean, you saw ONE FC, right? So you see like those events, and I think that shows that there can be something there.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely that side that hasn't been put out there, right, by UFC and stuff. So I think it's great. Even like I don't know if they're going to do the Muay Thai, you know, and the UFC kind of thing, but I'm sure they could. There's room for that.
Yeah.
But maybe it makes more sense in like the Asian market to do that right now. But I think it's great, you know, because people are interested. I'm interested. You know, if you're a martial artist, if you're really into it, you guys want to watch some big super fights, right, on TV, you know, just grappling, right, to see where it's at. I think it's really cool the way ONE FC does it with at least in the cage, and it's like in front of everybody. And you know, I watched that. They came to the U.S. and they went to the one in Colorado, you know, and they had all those things on the paper, or not pay-per-view. It was free, right? It was free on Amazon Prime. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it as a martial artist, and also like the respect and the honor, and it's really cool. It's done really well.
We were talking about that, the respect and honor amongst jiu-jitsu practitioners versus
compared to most other
the
combat
typical MMA guys. I mean, very different.
A lot of people that do like train MMA and whatnot, there's a good level of respect to have. I just feel like jiu-jitsu is all about respect, you know. All the people that I meet.
It's
in
interesting, right? It's interesting.
Yeah.
The whole culture of martial arts and fighting, and where it intersects, and where things translate to this and to that. Like wrestling, the culture is a bit different, right? But depends where you are in the world wrestling, right? If you're like from Dagestan or other places, you're kind of you grow up with like respect and speaking about your values and stuff.
Right.
They have different values compared to like maybe a U.S. right wrestler, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's interesting, right? The whole thing. And jiu-jitsu, definitely, if you're a jiu-jitsu guy, you come up with respect and honor and those kinds of things. And I'm sure Muay Thai as well, right? With the way they have the white crew dance and that whole culture, you know?
Yeah. Well, we've got some plans for us. You know, we're doing MMA right now, but we don't only want to be an MMA promotion. We want to be a true combat sports promotion. So we're exploring some other things that we'll probably be rolling out.
What are some other things you want to spill them? Or
well, I don't really want to spill the beans too much, but you know, small gloves, Muay Thai. I mean, there's some other.
I think the ONE FC, not completely like it, but you know, the ONE FC model, right? Like I think we do eventually want to become a combat sports promotion, not just strictly MMA, but you know, maybe if it makes sense, doing some why am I missing it?
Combat jiu-jitsu,
but you know, just an all-in-one promotion where fighters.
I mean, it just connects the community, right?
100%.
It connects the community.
That's one word he always brings up is like community, right? And it really brings everything together. Where it's a great foundation.
Yeah, I think if we can create a synergy between the community and be sort of like their one-stop shop. Like I look at your facility and kind of what you're doing. You're a one-stop shop for the needs of any martial artist. I mean, that's what we want to be as a promotion. So if you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner, we want to have something for you. If you're a kickboxer, we want to have something for you. If you're an MMA practitioner, we want to have something for you. I mean, that's really our goal. I mean, I think for us, we've really worked the first, 2.5 years, really just building the brand, trying to get everything dialed in. We haven't focused on monetizing it. It's really been just getting our product all together and building relationships. And I think
building relationships.
Yeah, relationships are everything, right?
They really are, yeah.
Yeah, man. I just really learned. Well, I learned that through my normal business because I do a lot in the investigative world, but I work with law enforcement throughout the country and internationally. And really, those relationships matter. Being a person of your word, delivering a quality product, and always picking up the phone when someone needs you. And so we're trying to bring that same sort of business mentality to MMA. And it's definitely a challenge because working with athletes is very different.
Yeah.
But I think, I think we're making some positive strides.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the relationship is important. So when we first started UNF, my main thing, I mean, we're running it together, but he's really the mentor. He's the guiding ship. And
for now.
Yeah. No, I'm doing my thing. I've actually, I think I'm almost there, right? But I'm getting there. But, my main responsibility was the amateur matchmaking, Rising Stars matchmaking. I mean, just from day one to now, just the relationships I've built. And, it's true. You do have to have those good relationships. And I think before we did try to monetize or really, hey, we're the big sponsors, we wanted to build a great base and a great product. And I think we've done that now. So we keep calling UNF right now, UNF 2.0, that next level of what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It's funny because you're talking about community, building community. And I think, I think it was Tarek's fight, that event. I really felt for the first time like that, like a community, Yeah. I walked around. I was, I felt just all the camps. Everybody was like a community event.
One thing I think is kind of special is I think the vibe in the room at our place is kind of different than your typical events. It's more of an experience. And for us too is, yes, we want the hardcore MMA fans, but we want to develop new fans, right? So my daughter's 36. My daughter works with Up Next, and none of her friends were fans of MMA, but they now come to the events and they just love it. They enjoy themselves. So we really want to kind of reach other folks. We want to make it, an experience for people.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. I mean, like I've been to other, you kind of feel like you're having a night out. It's not just there. You're not just sitting there watching fights, but you are mingling. It's a good vibe there. The VIP table section gets a little popping sometimes, but
my wife just kind of tries to run that whole VIP section with, let me give you a shot. Let's do this. Let's do that. So.
And we're running around the whole time.
Yeah, I'm working the cage door, Alberto. So I work the cage door, and while my wife's taking shots.
She deserves it though.
How do you get your whole family involved in this business?
I mean,
what's the secret?
Listen, we're very.
I want to spend time with my kids, and the fact that you have your whole family involved.
Be careful
right?
what you wish for.
Right?
No, I mean,
he has a horrible life. Let me tell you, it seems to be every day.
Listen, as a family, we're thick as thieves. We're very dysfunctional in many ways, right? But I think the love and the care that we have for each other and respect, it's unmatched. I come from my background, I'm basically white trash. Raised by a single mom, had multiple stepdads, screwed up personal life. When I met my wife, amazing family structure. I mean, she really taught me what family was like. Sorry, I'll get a little choked up. And we just kind of brought that, to Up Next, and working, building together is what's really special. You know what I mean? And when you can see your daughter flourish and doing something real, man, it fires me up, seeing him excel, seeing Kobe excel. It just really invigorates me because my normal job, that's my grind. I've been doing that 30 years. So I'm on the tail end of that, probably 5, 10 more years, whatever. So building something new and giving back is just really meaningful. And we go through it as a family. I mean, we drive each other crazy, but I think it's a good time.
Yeah, I think it's been like that ever since I was at a young age too, right? Like my dad brought up the story recently, but me and my twin brother played basketball our whole lives growing up. He was definitely more naturally skilled than I was. Probably better than me at everything we almost did. Just naturally, right? Like he was a stud. But our passion was basketball at the time. That's what we were playing. We were in high school, and then, he made the JV team for sure, and there was room. You might make it, you might not. So, my dad had to sit down with me. He just talked to me, hey, you're going to have to put some more work in. Doesn't come as naturally to you, but you got to do it. So he was willing to pay for private lessons, but not only was he paying for them, he was coming every single time, recording me, and kind of, helping me through the struggle and the journey.
Because I had no skills.
No,
so
yeah.
I had to
He had to pay someone to
give
come
him
do
the
it.
skills.
But, you know, I think that's just to say how tight we are. Whenever one of us is going through something or needs something, we're there as a family no matter what. So I don't recommend doing business with family for everyone. But if you guys know you got it like that, you could get through it, then I would recommend it. Because there's nothing more fulfilling than, you know, building something with the people you love, for sure.
Yeah, as I've got to see his growth in Up Next, you know, when he came in, he's got an amazing eye for talent. He really, really does. He knows MMA. He's got an amazing eye. But, you know, he got thrown to the wolves by having to matchmake. And that's, I think, the most difficult
It's
job.
really not an easy job at all.
No, it's the most difficult job in the organization, like having to call people, having to follow up, and, you know, just put together fair matches. And one thing I'm very proud of him is putting together fair matches. Because a lot of people, you know, aren't professionals in the sense of they just want their fighters to fight a can.
Right.
Up Next doesn't believe in that. We want fair matches so these guys can build, you know, and have careers if that's what they want. So being 27 years old, you know, going head to head with these old head coaches and guys who have 20 plus, 30 years in the industry and kind of, you know, saying, hey, no, this is what we need to do. I think that takes a lot of strength to do that. And so I'm really, really proud of him and sticking by his morals and values of saying, we've got to make the right fights, you know?
No, definitely. I feel like the fighters, you know, don't deserve anything less than that too.
Yeah.
I don't believe in, especially as rising stars, to just get a 5-0 record, but you're fighting guys you know you could beat. Because when you go pro and the losses really do matter, you haven't been tested.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in that. But yeah, no, I definitely try to make the most fair fights as possible. And fights, right? Like, I mean, you know, people are coming to buy tickets to your show. They don't want to see one-sided fights, the whole fight card. And some promoters will do that because they have guys that sell some tickets. Yeah, we love people that sell tickets, but there's integrity also for the fans that are coming to watch and also what the fighters deserve too. So
Yeah, I feel that too. Yeah, just coming up, different promotions. I remember like back in the day, King of the Cage, not to throw them under the bus, but you know they would just get cans and stuff. You know, there's like dropouts too, right, all the time.
Yeah.
So it's challenging, right? So who do you get? You know, but definitely
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You've been there from the beginning to now. Like you've seen such an evolution. What's it like for you to be there on the ground floor to see it today?
Man, you know, I'm originally from New Mexico, right?
Yep.
So like Greg Jackson and those guys, and so to see it, I never thought it would be like a mainstream sport. I don't know, for some reason, I didn't think it was gonna be a mainstream sport. So I don't know. I loved jiu-jitsu, and I never thought I would fight in the cage, right? So one thing led to another. I was like, I want to test my black belt in the cage, you know. And then they came to New Mexico, and then I was talking to Greg Jackson with and then, you know, we started training and to see like back from those early days from the King of the Cage, and that wasn't the early days, but watching Hoist Gracie in the early days, right? Just showing it's one of the things that got me interested in jiu-jitsu, right? More, but yeah, it's beautiful to see all these guys. Like, you know, I was in the card with Dan Severin and guy who fought Hoist Gracie in the early days, and I was still, when I was fighting, representing the martial art, representing jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
We had gloves and stuff at that time, you know. But it's a lot different than now. Now everybody's like, you have to be well-rounded, right?
Yeah.
It's not just one martial art versus the other. Where it was still a little bit like that when I first started fighting, right?
Yeah.
But now everybody's like really, you know, you have to be well-rounded. You have to be good at pretty much everything.
Well, dude, these kids now coming up, wow, they're phenoms. You know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, well,
level of
yeah, the sport's evolved, right? Like back in the day, you could have one discipline.
Amateurs, right?
Yeah. Well, nowadays, I mean, you got amateurs that are just so well-rounded everywhere. You know, now it's like a mainstream sport now. So you got some parents have their kids training MMA since when they're 5 years old, and yeah, it's amazing to see how it's evolved and how fast the sport is growing as well.
Yeah.
I think in jiu-jitsu as well, right? It's like you can't just be doing one thing. You have to do some wrestling. You have to do judo. You know, the J-Flow, right? He has like, what is it called? Judo, wrestling, jitsu, or something like that. He just mixes it all because you have to do everything.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, even just in the grappling, right? You have to be well-rounded with your takedowns, with your top, bottom, you know, same thing in MMA, right? And if you're not, you're going to be behind.
Yeah.
And with all the technology, with the videos and everything, right? It's like you got to do the work. You got to do extra work, right?
Yeah, no, it's
and
nuts.
whoever doesn't do it.
Yeah. Listen, I always say, like, nothing good is going to come easy. So I think, you know, some folks in this younger generation want things a little easier and don't want to really put in that hard grind. And I think you really got to, if you want to be something special, you've got to put in that really hard work. You're not going to make it to the top unless you put in the extra work, in my opinion.
Yeah, but how it's evolved, right? Yeah, it's just I never thought it was going to be. I shouldn't say I never thought. I just didn't think it was going to be like a mainstream sport. And now to see it on ESPN and like on with all the other like NFL and football and baseball and everything, and seeing UFC, I'm like, what?
Well, you got those rumors that UFC is going to sign with Netflix. Just think about that for a minute. If that happens, that's just like, it's crazy. And then just seeing Dana White, right, with Trump.
I mean, what's going on here? At the victory speech, right?
Yeah.
Dana White's the one speaking for Trump.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
The hype man is hyping up the president of the United States.
The president of the UFC helped, Donald Trump win the election. Honestly, just with how he orchestrated all the influencers and whatnot and everything. But it's just crazy. Who would ever think that's someone in the MMA industry or
standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the president of the United States. Good job, Dana. That's all I'm gonna say. That guy's a beast.
I mean, it comes back to integrity, right? Saying what you're gonna do. Like he couldn't have not, he asked him to be a speaker at the Republican National Convention, right?
Yep.
And he's like, don't, if you don't, you understand if you can't, because of all the political foes and everything you would have created. And then the wife was like, he said, let me think about it. Or he's like, oh, just go, And he went and he did the right thing, right? Because Trump was there for him at the early days of the UFC,
right?
Allowing him to have his UFC events at the Taj Mahal, right?
It goes back to relationships, and making sure you're answering people's calls and you're there for them. And
it is, and I know. Nowhere am I trying to say Dana's perfect, Roy, but you got to really give that man a lot of respect. He's a man of his word. He says what he thinks. There are times I wish I had the courage to do that because I'm worried about political ramifications or rubbing somebody the wrong way. I kind of, I'm guarded with what I say or with what I do. But that dude will just straight up tell you.
I give you permission to tell me how you really feel about me right now.
No, I always tell how I feel. It's people I care about that I watch what I say so I don't hurt their feelings. I just say whatever I'm thinking.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Well,
sorry.
Go ahead. No, I just want to ask. So, I mean, you guys, Legacy is blown up, and you guys have a couple locations. What's something you try to instill in all the students that kind of come in here? Whether that's, respect or whatever. Do you guys have like a certain thing you're trying to embody with all the students you guys have at Legacy?
That's a good question. I think our core values, right? But people come in. I was just talking to one of our guys, our tour downstairs, and what makes it special. People want to be a part, of the school and stuff, and you can't even put your finger on it. You just feel it, right? You just want to be a part of it. Like people care, people care, and it's community, and people come and go, but they maybe go off to the side and go a different path, but we're there. They're going to be there. They know we're going to be there if they need us, and so they always feel safe coming back. They feel safe, and it helps them, We're here to help the community, help the people, So that's just not to answer your question, but I think just the culture of our school, and I think one of it is like relationships first thing, our community, building community. And I think it's at the top of our list. And we've had some great people here, right, come in from different schools, different backgrounds, and they always say the same thing. It really feels like I've never been to some place that the community, it's like I'm in my living room here.
Yeah.
And I've never been to a place like that. Guys that are seasoned guys from different sports, and they always say that it's a repeat thing that I always hear.
Yeah, as we were talking about going to our shows, it's a vibe and it's a feeling.
Yeah, and
it's
I feel
actually
the same when I
thing here. And one thing too, it's your guys are always so respectful, so nice, so helpful. Like we'll be at the events. Oh, do you need help doing this? Do you need this? Do you need that? So you can get a feeling of vibes of the gym. You know what I mean? And everything that I've dealt with Legacy. No, it's honestly been really positive. You know what I mean? So you're working with a bunch of class acts. So.
Yeah, no, I love working with all the guys, especially Kevin.
Except
Kevin's like the little manager, but if I ever need something, I go to Kevin.
I have to tell you, I do love Kevin. I love following him on Instagram. There's never a dull moment. I challenge everybody to follow Caveman Fitness because you will not be disappointed. I seriously watch every one of his stories, everything. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, no, he's hilarious, honestly.
Yeah. His trip to Japan was off the chain.
All the food just made me hungry every second.
His food and his drinks. And yeah. How's it working with him all the time?
Interesting. We do the podcast and we have fun. We just did one last week or this week, whenever it was, And yeah, we have a lot of laughs and good times. And what do you think about a shirt? The horse shirt. Wild mustache.
Only he could pull that
Kevin's
off.
definitely wild and free. We could see that.
He really is.
But yeah, man, it's he has a big heart. He has a big heart, and he helps a lot of people, and that's what we do. It's I feel like that's I think one of the core things, and just speaking to you guys and listening to you about the community and just the relationships and like that's why I feel that way when I go to your shows, and it's different than I've ever felt going to any other shows.
Oh, that's good. Thanks. That's what we're trying to achieve. I mean, one of the other things I live by is like called AOG, attitude of AOG, attitude of gratitude. Like if you have gratitude in your heart and you show people gratitude, I think people get a sense of that, and it puts you just in a really good mindset, and how you deal with people, because you never know what struggles people are dealing with or what other people are going through.
Right.
But if you treat every relationship with gratitude and that you're thankful for it until they screw you around, I think it's a good thing to do.
No,
Yeah,
definitely.
That's it. So what are the plans for Up Next Fighting? What can you guys let out of the bag?
Well, we got some
2025.
We're definitely working on some things. I think this year you're gonna see some new stuff from us. Nothing's set in stone yet, but I'm sure we'll make our way out of California this year and do an event in another state.
Wow.
Yeah, he's hoping it's Vegas. So.
Vegas.
You like Vegas, Alberto, or not?
Yeah, I like Vegas.
Listen,
yeah,
he's like telling the athletes, hey, come to Vegas with me. We got my dad's Amex card. We'll hang out, or we'll do Miami. This guy.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're willing and you're good with that. Otherwise, the trip won't be as fun, but we'll still make it fun.
Yeah, I think we're going to be pretty active this year. I think you're going to see at least 12 events this year. I think we are going to be doing some other things in the kickboxing space and the jiu-jitsu space, I think, second half of the year. We're working on our podcast also.
Yeah. Kevin was telling me you guys are starting.
Yeah.
You started already. You have like 6 episodes, right?
6 in the can, yeah.
Yeah, 6 in the can. It's actually our first episode's launching. Well, I don't know when this is airing, but a couple days after this, we're filming this right now. So
Nice.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because I really admire what you do because it's not easy running a podcast and keeping it flowing and doing all that. But, we want to develop another platform so we can highlight the fighters, right? Let them tell their stories. And I think, I don't know how you feel, but it's been pretty cool sitting down with the folks. And, you think you know someone, but until you sit down and have a conversation like this, you don't really know them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not the same as, maybe Miriam Cheryl coming down here and getting 2-minute interviews with the fighters because we think we're promoting them. But, some of these guys' stories need to get out there. And we were also thinking, we're talking shit to each other all day. We're always having these long form conversations like, why not record it? Sometimes have a guest and put it out there. But yeah, like my dad said, you don't know these guys' stories until you really sit down with them for an hour and understand why they think the way they think or, their upbringing or whatever it is. And like I said earlier, most fighters just have such interesting stories. What led them to where they are today.
Well, our bantamweight champion, Anthony the Bully Romero, he's knocking on the door to the UFC, right? I think if another good performance, he's going to get that call. But we sat down with him and just hearing his story, how he lost his dad at 19, his dad was stabbed and killed, and just his upbringing, the hardships. And it's really, really inspiring because this kid had so much against him. He stayed true, kept training, led a good life, is training. Now he's knocking on the door to the UFC. So it's just pretty inspiring. And, it's an honor to kind of share that story and get it out there.
Yeah, it's also crazy, right? Like fighters, like you got guys that like go get college degrees and decide they want to pursue MMA, and then you guys that used to gangbang and they want to do MMA, and then you got the people in the middle. So they all have interesting stories, and why they end up choosing to fight, it's something everyone wants to hear, I think.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch the Kingdom, the MMA?
The show, yeah. I saw. I can't remember it too well, but I know I watched it. Was that with who was in that? Who was the main actor? Kingdom.
Kevin, I'll look it up for
come
us.
on.
Kevin, can you look that up,
Was it?
please?
I watched it. It was a couple years ago.
It was a good MMA show. I remember where they they did a good job. That guy always wore the T-shirt of the gym and it was done I thought pretty well. Considering
I think you're going to see more of that. It's kind of cool too to see these MMA stars crossing over into films. I know there's a new film. I forgot the name. But it's getting released. I think Michael Bisping's in it, and a few of the UFC guys are in it. But
did you guys watch the Michael Bisping documentary?
I have not watched it, no.
Oh my God.
Good. Talk about him getting his eye poked out.
Yeah, he's blind. He lost one of his eyes, and he like somehow, went around with the doctor, and
I saw some clip where he said, Jason Pearl, his head coach, or would tell him like they had the system of how to pass the eye tech when they were
and
asking
like,
and everything.
there's two guys, one that jumped from knowing where the thing's gonna be is, and there's another guy where he doesn't know. He just reaches out, and hopefully there's one there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Which guy are you?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm the guy that doesn't know if it's gonna be there, and I find it.
But what kind of passion and desire did Bisbing have to accomplish his dreams by going through that?
And how about he lost his eye, and he can lose potentially his other eye. He lost his eye. He goes back into the UFC, becomes UFC champion.
Nuts. Insane.
You got to be kidding me,
Different breed, man.
Different breed.
Look, I really admire these guys. And also, if you really think about the training and dedication you have to put in to get there, is crazy.
Yeah. Wait, what's his name?
Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo. Sorry, Frank.
I watched part of it, but I didn't watch. I just
it was good.
I had no recollection. I'm like, I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, I said something.
And they have some of the stories of the fighters and what they go through. That's actually pretty good,
Yeah.
It's a TV show, but still kind of goes into it and just all the different stories, right? You were saying like there's guys that have crazy lives. There's guys that are more normal, right? And normal, but just have different. Maybe they don't have those crazy backgrounds up, but they all end up in this world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing
and it's nice to share everybody's stories.
No, 100%.
And what makes them tick, right?
Yeah.
Talking about craziness. So one thing that we're hoping to do this year is we have access to a 40-acre ranch up in Northern California.
Wow.
So one of our goals, we're trying to put it together now, is to take a group of like 15 athletes up there with a few coaches and do like a week of like competitions. Train, they'll be training, there'll be competitions. We have a shooting range, we have a motorcycle track. So
make a reality show of it.
Make it like a little reality
it's
show.
like the CrossFit Games, the beginning of the CrossFit Games.
That's something that we're working on. If we could pull that off, it'd be amazing. And the schmo may come up and be like the whole character that moderates the whole thing. And so we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, no, I think the fighters would dig that. Anyway, it would make for good content.
Oh, can you imagine what we're gonna get?
Might need a couple security guards there too to make sure.
Can you come?
You guys, what's that?
Can you come up with us and just keep ordering?
Man, are you kidding me? Like you guys are getting me excited.
We sitting with you guys like,
Alberto,
me and the ADD guys, like me and the Kevin, are like, what's going on?
Alberto, you got to invite for sure.
What day? What time?
We'll have to talk about Kevin coming up. Alberto could come.
Kevin should be a producer on that show. I'm gonna tell you why.
You're giving Kevin too much credit right now.
Who's gonna come up with better games and competitions that these athletes?
No one. I'm just
than
joking with Kevin. I love Kevin. Yeah, no, definitely.
No, Kevin
would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have so many different ideas that we're trying to, put together for 2025. But
there's a lot of ideas, right? But you guys are executing on all these ideas.
That's the key.
Like from all the 360 cameras to like all the little bells and whistles that people talk about, but you guys are actually doing it, So that's why I give you guys a lot of credit. Like family involved, like it's beautiful, man.
Thanks. What do you think of those ref cams that we put on the refs and their
everything is ridiculous,
footage,
It's like it's only UFC that's like on that level, honestly, that I've seen.
Yeah, appreciate that. I remember.
I mean, ONE FC has like good production.
I mean, you got the top tier, but it's crazy because I think maybe like 4 or 5 events ago, and as I'm getting older, more, definitely stepping up in the business, I've became closer with people from the commission and whatnot, and just, someone from the commission came up to me, he's like, listen to me clear, like being serious, like you guys run the tightest ship besides the UFC. I'm talking Bellator. I'm talking this. You guys are running the tightest ship.
Really?
And that was just cool. Like that was like
the commission.
Yeah, like someone that works with all these other promotions, in the U.S. It was just like, damn, it's
a nice
pretty cool because we know what we kind of, not even arguments, but whatever yelling and this and that we go through behind the scenes. It's all paying off and all showing for whether you're a fan or we're working with you or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. But a lot of people have told us we're running, just as tight of a ship as the UFC. Just maybe the resources and employees aren't there, but the ship we're running is really, really tight.
I think experience is important to us, not only for the fans and the athletes, but even for the commission. You want the commission to respect us as an organization. So we really feel like having our paperwork in order, having all licensing and medicals cleared in advance of the event, doing all that stuff is hugely important. And boy, that's a huge
That's a whole other monster in itself.
That's a whole other monster, right?
Yeah.
It's oh my God. Like dropouts, people not doing their medicals on time, this, that.
What about guys missing weight? Like he'll get the call the day before, I'm 10 pounds over. What do I do? Like,
yeah.
What do you do?
Stay home, I guess. I don't know.
You know, I was involved with the King of the Cage. Had a student. He's actually from Tarzana, the Tarzana Country Club,
Yeah.
and we did a couple shows up there, and we had like 10 fights or something like that, 11 fights, and then we dropped down to like 6 or something,
It's
or 5,
nuts
not down to
sometimes.
5, and I ended up fighting. Oh, I had like we
you have
had
to
we
see
had,
the
we had
card?
four of my guys,
in.
and Ronda Rousey on the card, and it was all my guys and Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey was there. You know, we're all friends too, but Ronda Rousey and 4 of my guys, and it was like, okay, I guess I'll fight too. You know, just so it's like, so you know, we
It's a
have
little
something.
longer
You
of
know,
a show, and yeah.
and the guy, he was a member at the country club, and so we got it done, and I ended up fighting on the card because it was so crazy. I felt so bad. I was like, this guy put all this money into making this event,
Yeah.
and he was supposed to fight on it as well, and he was like, he was in his 40s, you know, so to go through all of it, and then he got hurt, you know. But those are those things,
yeah.
right?
Dude, it's so crazy. Even our last card, because you always have a percentage of fights that drop, right? So
Right.
we made 24.
I mean, fights were falling in and out, but I think our high when like we were kind of getting close to the event was we were at 22 or 23 made fights. Yeah.
Yeah, and the commission's like, you cannot have more than 20.
I'm just telling you,
So
don't
we're
even
going,
worry
oh,
about it. We
and
won't
fights-
have more than 20.
Fights weren't
You already
dropping.
knew
Fights
that,
weren't
you already knew
dropping.
that.
I mean,
Boom. But no, we dropped.
week
We got
of,
to
yeah.
20. But could you imagine that?
yeah. But the event before that, we made about 23 fights and we dropped to like 16.
16.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, you just, I mean, no matter how many
Got
times
to roll with the punches.
yeah,
Never
no,
a
you
dull moment.
literally
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a control freak, so I like to structure everything. Like even for Up Next, I have everything organized way in advance, right? Everything's structured. So to really operate in this space with all these unknowns is just so challenging.
Yeah, I mean, you never do know, and a couple fights usually fall out of weigh-ins. Whether
Yeah.
the fighter's already medically cleared, then they have to see the doctor there, and there's, whatever it may be, it's nuts. And then you really just got to roll with the punches and do we can. We'll make sure we call you if we ever need someone to step in. Short notice, we got you.
You'll still take a short notice one?
Speaking of that, the last event I was supposed to fight, it was for George, and I didn't pass my medical.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And I passed my medical, and like so like I wouldn't be able to fight in California or Nevada, right? And so
Yeah.
I was even thinking, oh, I'll fight international, and then my wife was, I'm thinking my wife like she'll kill me, you know? She doesn't want me fighting
Yeah,
anyway,
no,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you're 48. How old are you? 48?
Yeah, 48.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, man. Yeah. No. Too
Yeah,
old.
yeah.
We're too old. Like, I mean, I got you. I'm 56. I think once you get like over 40, I just feel like you're taking unnecessary risk.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, when was that? That was 2012, I think.
Okay.
Right? 2012. So they found these lesions in my brain, and then they actually let me pass when I was going to fight in the UFC. And then they're like, we're going to keep an eye on it. And then 5 years later, every 5 years, they make you do a brain MRI for
Yeah.
the thing, for the fight medical. And then they found these lesions, and they're bigger lesions. They grew.
They grow.
And they said, we can't let you fight. We need to do more testing. And then I had to call George. Hey, George, sorry.
Yeah.
Can't make it. And then,
Did that bum you out, or were you just like,
well,
I'm
the way
cool
they
with it
treated
kinda
me
thing,
was
or-
like, they kind of treated me like there's something serious, you know?
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, you know. And then they did more tests. It was like neurological tests, and they ended up diagnosing me with like multiple sclerosis, you know? And it's just the way I was treated. Like my life is over, you know?
wow?
And that was interesting, right? But because of my background and whatever, you kind of don't accept like failure is not an option, right?
Yeah.
And so I asked the doctor, because everybody's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, like my life is over. I was like, can I still do jujitsu? And he's like, sure. There's no head trauma. I was like, okay, sounds good. And I just figured my wife was gonna be happy because I wasn't fighting anymore.
He's like,
Yeah,
very happy.
Because I'll
No
never give
fighting
up,
for
you know.
Yeah.
So that was it, you know. That was it, and it's time. You know, my last fight was actually in the south of France. So it was my friend. He was he had a really big sponsor, so they did a fight in the south of France, like right next to the French Riviera.
Wow.
So I got to fight in a bullfighting arena for my last fight. So it was a way to go out in the sunset, you know.
Yeah.
Of a nice, you know, it was a full career. It was nice. Got
Yeah.
to fight around the world, and what
I
more
think-
can I ask, you know?
One cool thing about you, I mean, you live and breathe sort of the fight game, but you know, you're a smart guy. You're an entrepreneur. You got other
I
things
don't need
going on.
it for the money, right?
Yeah, and I think some of these guys like fighting is 100% their identity. We have a prospect who's 5-0, undefeated, probably knocking on the door to the UFC also, but he went through his last medicals and didn't pass the heart exam. He's got a murmur or something with his heart, and it's just I feel so sad for this kid because he's kind of lost a little bit trying to find his identity, trying to heal, and so he can get back in that cage. It just sucks.
No, it definitely does suck. But I think we heard some good news recently, right? Or he's on track to be able to get back in.
Hopefully,
yeah. Crossed.
And that's the other thing. I get personally invested in all these guys.
Yeah.
Man.
You feel
like,
that. You feel that with you guys.
Yeah.
You feel it's like a family. It's like a big family.
Well, like all the fighters that come for content, they call him Pops, my mama, right? Like every single one of them. And they'll even call me with some life problems and stuff here and there, because we really do care about them and just want the best for them. They're not just like a number to us, you know. But it's cool, man. They all call him Pops, and they all call my mom, and I'm like, oh, we're brothers now. That's awesome. It's good.
It's actually cool.
No, it is.
Yeah, the only bummer I think for me is like when guys lose. I'm sorry I let you down. Like I hate that because they didn't let me down. Right? They got in there. They did their best.
Yeah, that's it.
Super proud of them.
That's it. Yeah. You mentioned a lot of great things, like the community, like relationships. Like attitude of gratitude, AOG,
You got that tattooed right here.
Yeah.
There we go. AOG.
All three of my sons, I have it, Kobe has it, and Ryan, we all have that tattooed on us. Just to remind us, man, because sometimes I think in life you sort of can lose sight of what you're supposed to be doing and where you're at. So to me, having it inked on me just reminds me.
Yeah, no, definitely. I want to live by it, but I also need some ink to fill up this spot right here. So,
what are some other tips you have for just success tips? I love all these things you're saying. It resonates with me, and what I kind of try to be.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I think it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you're at today and where you're going. I mean, I come from nothing. People see our family now. Fortunately, we've experienced some success, right? And think we're silver spoon, but no, we've earned everything. I think as long as you're a good, honest person and you work hard, you can accomplish whatever the F you want to accomplish in life. Right? Don't let people tell you no, but you've got to have a good, strong work ethic. You got to treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. All humans are equal. Invest in relationships with people because you never know how those relationships can benefit you or that other person. So that's really what I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's like having procedures and structure, right? Like if you really want to get to a place in your life, it's really just this procedure. This is how you got to do it all the time, and you stick to this. And I really think that
Pops helps with, right?
No, I've learned a lot in the last 2-3 years really working with him.
Alberto, I've got him doing. He's got a to-do list now. Sets calendar reminders, and it's really cool because working together was a complete shit show at first, right? And now
I'm gonna call you for some tips how to organize my day.
Look, I'm Mr. Procedure and Mr. Structure. I'm crazy like that. I'm really good. Like, Steve Dash always jokes.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, when this guy's in charge and he's bringing everything to the event, don't worry, everything will be there. Because I take pride in what I do. If my name's on it, I have to care. But super proud of him to
deal with
listen
and
evolve and have the desire to improve. Because if you don't have a desire to evolve and improve, what are you going to be? It's like okay, I can't.
No, but that's
I would
the
think
same.
with a jiu-jitsu
Success is the same formula, yeah.
Yeah, you want to keep growing and learning. You don't want to be the best guy in the room, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I've always told him. It's just like you just keep working, keep grinding, keep your nose down, and you don't need to run your mouth. You just let the results of everything you do speak for itself. And that's one thing I like about Up Next, where our competitors like to chirp at us and take digs on us on social media. Like we have competitors, oh, we're the biggest show, the best show in Cali, this and that. We will never post anything like that. Now, the results of our show are going to speak for itself.
Yeah, definitely.
Name drop.
No, I will not. I will not name drop only because it's just
I'll name drop all of them. They've all stepped up, and this is good for the MMA community. Since we've came onto the scene, they've all stepped up their social media. You can tell they're trying to put some more resources into what they're doing. Definitely not on our level and what we're really putting into it, but we've made everyone step up their. Yeah, they could be, but we've made everyone step up their game at the same time.
We have, and I won't even tell you, but other promoters have hit me up, our competition. Hey, you guys need to slow down. Don't do this, don't that. You're costing us all more money, and let's all just have this sort of truce thing. Guess what I told them? Yeah, not happening with us. We're going to run the best freaking show. If you really care about these athletes and the fans, step up and put the same resources in that we're putting in, and then we'll go from there. But they don't want to invest back into the community and to the athletes. Like even our athletes, it cracks me up. Like content day comes, we give them shirts and stuff. Fight day, they get a swag bag. Some of our competitors, own clothing companies. It's not. These fighters only get a T-shirt from these other promotions. And, we give every fighter that fights with us, every winner, they get a little trophy. We believe in that, right? And these guys could do the same thing, but they gotta step up and do it. So we will have no truces with our competitors. We're coming for the jugular, bottom line.
I second that. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Tarzana. Kevin's laughing.
Coming for the jugular.
Coming for the jugular. Well, I
You don't have to. It's you have that. You have that mindset, right? We're gonna do our best, and we're gonna keep improving. We're gonna keep doing better, and we're not gonna get held down or get put down by anybody.
Yeah, well, I think
for us not to do our best and keep pushing.
Well, we've assembled a team of like-minded people who care. When you got Steve running the production, you got George doing the pro matchman, you got Ryan, you got myself, my wife, Kobe, my daughter. Like, we all care about what we do. There's no promotion, especially on the regional level, that has like-minded people like us that are as passionate about doing what we do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it's not, I think a lot of these promotions also, they're trying to do money grabs. We're really building a brand and, want to take up next to the next level. So it's not necessarily, it's great. Everyone wants to make money, but it's really a passion and like up next is like kind of like my baby in a sense. Yeah, I know my dad's leading the ship, but this is like, up next, again, it's not just for money for me. It's kind of a legacy thing for me. It's really what I want to build. So this definitely isn't just a money grab thing for us in any way. And I think not everyone that's running promotions has that same outlook on what they're trying to build.
I've always, like my normal business, like I always felt if I just did good work and did the right thing, the money would come. I've never been a money guy. And I kind of feel the same way about Up Next. We've invested a ton of money into this, building a business. And I believe it's going to really pay off. And, this is Ryan's legacy, Kobe's legacy, Miriam's legacy, my kids. Hopefully, I'm going to be sitting back soon at the VIP area, taking shots with my wife.
Yeah, you just
not working the cage door.
Anyways, we can have someone work the cage door. All right, I think he likes to do it, but he's talking trash like he doesn't want to do it.
I do, bro, because then I don't have to deal with everybody. I want to work. I like to work.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so cool talking to you guys. Talking like hearing all these, don't chase money, chase excellence, and one of my black belts, her dad would always say that. And then money will chase you, So doing the right things, doing all the right things character-wise and everything else, and then it comes, right? It just comes.
Well, I've had friends that have super brilliant people that have chased the money. Their lives their lives aren't so great. Multiple divorces, this, that, the other thing. Like, just be a good person.
It's so cool to see some of the old faces. And is it Thor? Yeah, Thor. He was in Tarzana. He was a part of that boxing. The
Tarzana boxing.
Yeah, was he that? Is that how you guys know him?
Yeah. So what's crazy is so we grew up in the South Bay. So we used to live down in Redondo. We moved. This clown and his brother.
Wait, hear how stupid this is. But go ahead.
Listen, we have a beautiful home in Redondo Beach.
I love Redondo Beach.
I love Redondo Beach too. Well.
But all my wife's family was out here in the San Fernando Valley, and they were playing travel basketball. They played on a team out here in the Valley. Their cousins were out here, and this clown and his brother hit me up. Let's move to the Valley. We want to move to the Valley.
Alberto, I have a question before he continues. Would you let your 11-year-old son or daughter tell you where to move and then hold it against them? I'm just curious.
No.
Thank you very much.
But
I'm not choosing sides.
No, but this is how dumb I am. I'm definitely not that sharp. Like, these guys tell me they want to move to the Valley, and so I'm like, okay, I asked Mom, if you want to move to the Valley? Yeah, I would love it. My sister's there, this, and I'm like, okay, start looking for houses if you want.
Worst decision.
We end up moving to the Valley. My office is down in...
Shows his values, though. His family first,
no, this man is he's the best. But I wouldn't let an 11-year-old tell me where to move, but that's fine.
He listens, though. He's listening to you guys.
It's not happening anymore, though. I've wised up. They pulled the one on me. But so it's crazy. So we moved. We got a beautiful home in Tarzana. My sister-in-law, after a year being there, my sister-in-law bought the house next door. I'm not shitting you. The house next door, we have a bridge that goes from their house to our house, right? And then I made that drive down to my office down in Torrance for over 10 years.
Wow.
Until I finally moved my office out to the Valley.
Wow.
Yeah. So Thor, when we moved out there, I went into Tarzana boxing. I took some classes there, and then I had Thor start.
What year did you guys move to the Valley?
12 years ago, right?
Was it 12? No, even I think like 14.
14 maybe.
Yeah, right around that, 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade, 7th
Yeah,
grade.
it was right before your bar mitzvah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I was 12 years old, right around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 years.
So I met Thor. He started training me, this and that. So we became very close friends. So I worked with him. I did some training with him. I cornered him for a bunch of his fights. And Thor's an interesting character. And I love everything about Thor, though. Like, really interesting.
Hey, you guys plugged him in the right seat. What he's doing, it's like
Yeah, now he's
content creating and
now he's running his gym, Pugilist Gym. He's got some great partners running that gym, and he works a lot with the youth in the community. He's doing a lot of work with the at-risk youth. So, gang guys that are close to joining gangs and things like that, getting them in and giving them free training and stuff. So,
Yeah. I can remember as soon as we moved out here, I mean, he was always doing like mitts for meals where he'd hold a round of pats for someone. They have to give $1 or $2 or $5, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But Thor's always been.
he's a big softy, but you wouldn't know it. Like, you know what I mean? He comes across really like crazy sometimes, but dude, that guy's the biggest softy.
I don't know if you guys know, but the first Legacy gym, when I first moved to LA, the first Legacy gym was in Encino.
Yeah.
And I think the sign's even still there. There's like a My Gym. There was a My Gym. I don't think it's even there anymore, but there's another martial arts studio there. Marcus Qual, like he took over the gym and whatever things happened. One of my students, he was like a private student. He moved to Calabasas, and it was like in between here and there,
Yeah.
And so we decided, okay, Encino, it's cool to see. I just know a lot of people from around there, and it's just cool to see all these like old faces, not old faces, but like these guys that have been in the game and just giving them opportunities. We're seeing them in good places,
Yeah.
the right places that I think they're excelling at.
Yeah, well, it's cool because a lot of the guys that were, in the fighting scene or they were competing at the time, now they're all coaches or assistant coaches or some type of trainers, and they all get to see each other at our events, and their students are fighting their students, and it's really cool.
That generational thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of cool to see. Like Rob Gooch has a school out there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, how can people find more? You guys are doing a podcast. How can people find your podcast?
Yeah, so the podcast is called the Fight Family Podcast.
Fight Family Podcast.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, in the Fight Family, we have MMA promotion. We argue all the time. it fits. It works. But yeah, the Fight Family Podcast on YouTube and all social platforms, and then obviously Up Next Fighting, same thing on all platforms.
Yeah, make sure hopefully you're going to come to our big March event at the Commerce Casino. We're having a huge event. I mean, that card is going to be stacked, so we definitely want you to come and be our guest.
Love to.
We'll sit you in the corral. Do your daughters like to come to the events at all?
If I bring a couple of their friends, I'll figure it out. Then I can get them to do anything.
We got you. Let us know. Then we'd also love to maybe have you on our pod if you
I'd love to. Be a pleasure.
I think you have a very interesting story. I know we talked about us a little bit more today, but I think you might be a little more interesting than us.
You're
so we
100%
should
more
probably
interesting.
awesome.
Oh, I've researched you, bro.
The Fighting Family.
No, I mean, your move out here in New Mexico, amazing. I mean, when you moved to Brazil to get your black belt, like being the first in the U.S., some impressive things, man.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
It's kind of our honor to sit down with you.
Yeah, I'd love to. Anytime you guys tell me.
Sweet.
Thank you
Let's
so
do
much.
it.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're the man. Thank you, sir.